recorded, we may use all or part of it in our platforms and publications. We also encourage you to get your questions in early, even while the presentation is going on. Feel free to use the Zoom chat box or come up to the mic that you have there to ask questions or share your comments on the presentation. Finally, we want to remind you that at the end of the session, we'll be having a photo op with everyone. For those online, please keep yourself ready for this. And for those attending on site, there'll also be a physical photo op session for you. So to officially start the program, let me call on Makati Business Club Executive Director, Coco Alcoas.
Thank you very much, Catch. First of all, I was very surprised to hear the Christmas music already. I didn't realize we're following the practice of the shopping malls, etc. Good morning, Himamaylan. We hope that you're all safe and well. Vice Mayor Justin, good morning. Long time no see, Justin.
That's right, Coco. I miss Manila too.
and when I say long time no see, I'm counting 15 years or something like that. In that range, I think. But very good to see you here, Vice Mayor. Welcome everyone to the launch of Himamaylan City's online assembly for the youth, strengthening youth policy through digital democracy. The Digital Democracy Project is an initiative of MBC and the Asia Foundation to introduce government to tech tools that will improve how they can consult with their constituencies. That means some of the people in this room today to form policy. A parallel digital democracy goal is to embed technology, which is now often used to divide communities, to use technology to unite us instead. So far, we have worked with local governments in Legazpi, Iligan, Intramuros, and Pasig. We've been wanting to work with Himamaylan since 2020, but our plans were derailed by the pandemic. We are very happy to pick it up again now. We would like to thank the city for partnering with us on this project. We are grateful to have the support of Vice Mayor Justin Catuslao, who heads the City Council. As you all know, that's the city's policy-making body. SK Federation President Annette Catuslao. Ms. Catuslao, good morning, who represents the SK Federation in the City Council and leads the Youth Development Council, as well as Local Youth Development Officer E.G. Castro. They're not just here, thank you to all of you. They're not just here gracing this morning's event with their presence, but also actively supporting the entire project. I've heard a lot about this over the last 2 years, Justin, and to your team as well. And I was very happy a few days ago when I realized it was back on. In fact, Justin, I'll tell you that I only really realized it was back on because our friend from PBSP, Ray Laguda, posted your post about, I think, your meeting with Sinacatch last week. And he said he was very happy to see that. He was also in Negros, I think, last week to talk about education with the governor and other leaders there. And we're working together with PBSP, with PBED and other organizations on a convergence project. So I was very happy to learn all of that. Thanks very much, Justin. Most importantly, I'd like to thank everybody else who's joining us for this affair today. I'll be here, I think, for about the first 30 minutes, then I have to jump off to another meeting. But I look forward to this and the succeeding activities in this series. Have a good morning, everybody. I'll turn it back to Catch now. Catch.
Thank you, Coco. So a brief word on our event flow. After we hear from our speakers this morning, we'll open our online survey. So this is to gather your ideas about your city, SK Federation's project and programs. After we adjourn, we hope you can ask your constituencies, your friends, your classmates, to answer the online survey too. So we'll have a fuller snapshot of which projects are relevant to them. The online survey will be open until September 23. Again, until September 23. Then we'll all meet here again on September 30, Friday, to present and discuss the results with you. To start the program today, I'd like to welcome Himamaylan City Vice Mayor Justin Catuslao to provide the opening remarks. Vice, over to you.
To our guests from the Makati Business Club, our partners in local government, particularly SK Federation President Annette Catuslao, of course, our CSWDO Officer E.G. Castro, Coco Alcoas, the Executive Director of the Makati Business Club, Coco, I was so concerned when you said 15 years earlier. They might not consider me youth anymore here in Himamaylan. But but it
Parang,
was the,
parang, parang, parang I got the 15 years and you did not, Justin.
yeah, those are good times. And of course, the members of the local youth development council, our SK officers, our youth leaders in Himamaylan, everyone who made this possible, and of course, our mayor Raymond Tongson. A pleasant morning to everybody. I'm very happy to share with you how this all began. I remember having a conversation in 2020 with Makati Business Club because of one particular legislative measure that we pushed for in the city of Himamaylan. And just as I was walking in the session hall earlier before the start of our program, the MBC presentation showed it, the Freedom of Information Ordinance. This is an ordinance, the law that they're pushing for at the national level. And I'm proud to say that Himamaylan City is so far the first and only so far local government unit in the entire Negros Occidental to have passed such a sweeping transparency measure. And because of this FOI ordinance, it has opened a lot of doors and a lot of opportunities for the city, particularly, and perhaps one of the most important ones is with the Makati Business Club. Thank you very much. Who would have thought that a small place in southern Negros Occidental, who most people cannot even pronounce properly, is now in the crosshairs and is now recognized by such an important organization, a forum of ideas such as the Makati Business Club. Thank you very much for this opportunity. In addition, of course, we're very thankful because not everybody is given a second chance. In 2020, the plans for this MBC Digital Democracy Initiative in Himamaylan, yes, as mentioned by Coco, was derailed for various reasons, primarily the pandemic. And I think we were talking about transportation solutions at the time, but I'm glad that the second iteration is now focused on youth empowerment and development. And empowerment begins, based on at least my experience, from starting a conversation. And conversations are started when you begin to ask questions. But of course, we have to remind ourselves that it's not all the time that we receive the answers that we want to hear. Most of the time, we have to steel ourselves and we have to be courageous enough to ask the questions and to expect that the answers may not be what we want to hear. However, once we begin conversations, that is a start already of finding out truly how we can solve problems, issues, and concerns on the ground. Most of the time, politicians and government workers are accused somehow unfairly of not really listening to the people, which is why sometimes the proposed solutions are not aligned with what we already know are supposed to be the answers to these problems. But I'm glad that the Makati Business Club has allowed us to use their technology and the framework for asking questions that matter. And we are waiting hoping to get the proper answers from our stakeholders on the ground so that we can also formulate policy and whatever is necessary to ensure that these problems are solved in the fastest possible time. Let me just share with you that this is only the first of 3 initiatives that the City Council has adopted to ensure that the concerns from the ground reach us and are addressed properly. After this digital democracy initiative with Makati Business Club this September, and I encourage everyone to participate in the online survey, this October, we are partnering with the National Society of Parliamentarians to come up with a workshop to ensure that all the voices of our youth participants are heard and the answers that are taken from the survey are put into the framework of how exactly we will be able to answer this through policy formulation and the creation of a youth agenda for Himamaylan, which the entire Sangguniang Panglungsod will commit itself to fulfilling. In November, we are partnering with Saseda Youth Lead, a Dumaguete-based organization, to then capacitate the young leaders to help us in government achieve these policy goals that you yourselves have formulated and we have committed to. And so we're hoping that by Christmas, we will be seeing the fruits of our endeavors come to fore already. Finally, beyond being grateful, thankful to our very generous partners, we're thankful also to the local government unit of Himamaylan, my fellow legislators in the Sangguniang Panglungsod, our mayor and the executive office, for accepting wholeheartedly this challenge. When we begin conversations, as I mentioned earlier, we should not really expect the answers that we already have heard before. We might be getting answers that might challenge us and that might force us to make certain course directions or policy changes. But we should accept this because the answers that we hear, hopefully, are the ones that truly need addressing. As the great Jesuit, the late great Jesuit Father Fariol said, wag tanungin kung mahirap, tanungin kung mahalaga. And this is our way of telling all our young people of Himamaylan, mahalaga kayo sa amin, and we look forward to working with and for you in the city of Himamaylan. Thank you again and have a pleasant morning.
Thank you, Vice, for the very generous introduction. I say generous because we now have a great tagline, asking questions that matter. So now to proceed with the meat of the morning's event, we'd like to call on Himamaylan City SK Federation President and an ex-officio member of the City Council, Annette Gatuslao. So Ms. Annette will share with us what projects the SK Federation has lined up, and we'll talk more about these projects later when we vote on them in the survey. Annette?
So to our partners at the Makati Business Club and the Asia Foundation, to our City Mayor, Honorable Rafael Raymond I. Tongson Jr., City Vice Mayor Justin Dominic S. Gatuslao, to the members of the Sangguniang Panlungsod, the Sangguniang Kabataan, our local Youth Development Council, to the head of our City Social Welfare and Development Office, and also our local Youth Development Officer, Ms. Edgy Castro, to our scholars, and to the youth of Himamaylan City, maayong aga gid sa inyo tanan. First of all, before I share our local youth development plan, I would like to thank Vice Justin for always choosing the Sangguniang Kabataan to be partner when it comes to various projects regarding the youth. Vice could have easily chosen other youth organizations, but I am very thankful because of the wonderful bond that we share, thus giving us opportunities to venture into these kinds of projects. So thank you very much, Vice. So a few years ago, 2018 to be exact, ever since we sat down or elected rather as the Sangguniang Kabataan officials of Himamaylan City, we were tasked to formulate a local youth development plan. So basically, this local youth development plan has a main goal of identifying and addressing the many problems that the youth of Himamaylan has through various plans, programs, and activities. So for today, I will be sharing with you the different PPAs that we have local youth development plan from the year 2020 to 2023. According to the National Youth Commission, which is one of the organizations that we usually depend on comes to formulating our youth plans, there are 9 centers of participation. But we decided to choose just 8 since these are the centers of participation that are relevant in our local government unit. So first, we have health, The issues that we were able to identify is the presence of too early sexual involvement leading to early and unplanned pregnancy. We have sexually transmitted infections, HIV, AIDS, and maternal mortality. So our main objective is to lower the number of incidents of too early sexual involvement leading to early or unplanned pregnancy, STI, HIV, AIDS, and maternal mortality. So the different activities that we were able to come up with was first Project Hulat, which is a comprehensive educational information campaign on reproductive health. We also have the maintenance of the Tiniran Center in the community. Tiniran is actually a place where the youth can go when it comes to when there are times that they have concerns, they want to be addressed, or they can also go to the center. Hello, mic test. Okay. This Tiniran Center is a place where the youth can go to when it comes to, certain problems that they want to be addressed or something, or it's also a place where they can go to if they need to seek help when it comes to their schooling. We also thought about establishing teen hubs in secondary schools with high number of teenage pregnancy cases. Another issue that we were able to identify is also the lack of resources to combat the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Some of the projects that we were able to plan out is the distribution of hygiene kits and the conduct of a virtual symposium on COVID-19 awareness. And lastly, for health, we also noticed the presence of youth suffering from stress, depression, anxiety, and eating disorders and addictive behaviors. Thus, we are also planning to conduct another symposium on mental health awareness. Now, proceeding to the next center of participation, which is education, the main issue that we were able to identify is the pressure of poor and deserving youth who are out of school due to poverty and inaccessible educational facilities. We were able to come up with Escolar ni SK, which is an educational assistance program, which will provide in a form of cash to cover miscellaneous expenses. We also thought about conducting an Eskwelanihan drive, which is an educational assistance drive, which will also provide for different forms of school supplies to the different students in Himamaylan City. We were also able to identify another issue, which is the presence of dropouts due to child labor, which is very prevalent among barangays, upper barangays rather, which is why we were able to think about connecting and strengthening our partnership with the alternative learning system through a memorandum of agreement. For our next center of participation, we also have economic empowerment. The main issue is the presence of out-of-school youth who lack any relevant skills for employment under livelihood. Activity we were able to think about to address this is the Livelihood Skills Training Program. For social inclusion and equity, the issue is the presence of the LGBTQ groups and ethnic minorities who lack access to information and services responsive to their various needs. Thus, we are planning to address this issue through Palarehas, which is a conduct of information education campaign on the rights of the LGBTQ and the ethnic minorities. For the fifth center of participation, which is peace, building, and security, one of the issues that we identified is the presence of youth offenders, delinquent youth, youth in conflict with the law, and drug users or dependents. Thus, we thought about conducting the Youth Leadership Summit. For governance, the main issue is the lack of interest of the youth in governance and youth serving organizations, their affairs and activities. Thus, we thought about addressing this through the observance of Linggo ng Kabataan, the conduct of Katipunan ng Kabataan, convening the local Youth Development Council meetings quarterly, the conduct of continuing mandatory capability buildings. For active citizenship, the issue is non-involvement of the youth in community activities and endeavors. Thus, we thought about the registration of the youth organization program, support to Brigada Escuela, the conduct of sports leagues, the conduct of sports clinics for athletes and potential referees, participation and support to LGUs, barangay, and SK Federation activities, and lastly, Dugo Mo, Kabuhi Ko, which is a support to a city's bloodletting activity. And lastly, for the environment, the issue that we identified as a federation is the non-involvement of the youth in environmental activities and disaster risk reduction and management. The activities that we thought about in order to address these issues is first the conduct of Basura Mo, Premio Mo Drive. This is a drive wherein go to different barangays in Himamaylan City. We collect various kinds of garbage that can still be recycled. And in return, we give certain families groceries. We also conduct forums on environmental protection and waste management. We also plan to conduct more mangrove tree planting and adopted area beautification project. And lastly, to conduct trainings on basic life support and information awareness on hazard and risk assessment to young people, which is to address the issue of the increasing number of youth participation in disaster risk reduction and management. So I know that that was a bit too much to digest, but basically that is what is in our local youth development plan from the year 2020 to 2023. So when we had our initial meeting with the Makati Business Club together with Vice Justin, one of the questions that was asked is, what issue within the youth do we want to be concerned, do we want to be addressed rather? So what I shared during that initial meeting is that we have a very good and a very comprehensive local youth development plan, but the problem is that we do not have the funds in order to put these plans into action. We have very beautiful programs that our SK Federation lost sleep over. And I do think that it is only right for these plans to be allocated funds, because these plans will just remain as plans without any budget. So therefore, I'm very thankful to the Makati Business Club, because after raising this concern during the meeting, they were able to suggest a way for us to be able to address this problem that I was able to bring up. Thus, the birth of strengthening youth policy through digital democracy. So basically, what's going to happen is that we will be introducing a survey that will be answered by the youth of Himamaylan. So all of the plans that I was able to mention earlier will be rated by the youth. Basically, they will be telling us what among the many plans that we shared should be given priority and should be funded by our local government unit. I am very happy that the Makati Business Club and the Office of the Vice Mayor has chosen the Sangguniang Kabataan Federation, because again, this will be a very, very big help to not just the SK, but to the entire youth of Himamaylan. So I'm looking forward to the good results of this project, and hopefully this is not the last time that we will partner together. So that is it. Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone.
Thank you, Annette, for the comprehensive walkthrough of SK Federation's programs, from mental health assistance to access to education, sports, and the environment. We also have with us Himamaylan City Social Welfare and Development Office Head, Ms. E.G. Castro. E.G., would you have anything to add to the discussion from SK Annette?
Good morning, everyone, to our partners from the Makati Business Club, Sir Kuko and the team. Good morning. To our City Mayor, Honorable Raymond Tongson, represented by our HRMO now, who's online, Doc Saiki Hisona. To our City Vice Mayor, Honorable Justin Silas Gatoslao. Vice, good morning. our SK Federation President, as well as our Chairperson on the Local Youth Development Council, Honorable Annette Gatuslao, to our SK Council, kung ara sila dara, our Local Youth Development Council present. Good morning to all of us. Mayong aga. Good morning. So Ms. Annette had already discussed the salient points of the Local Youth Development Plan. So I might as well discuss the process, how we went through the drafting and the formulation of the plan. Way back in 2018, the moment our SK Federation took oath of office, the LYDO then initiated the convention of all youth serving organizations and youth leaders in order for them to have a mini convention and a youth development summit where we discussed and identify the existing problems, issues, and concerns that Himamaylanos are facing today. After that, after discussing, we used focus group discussions, problem tree analysis, we have lectures, we identified the issues, and then after identifying the problems, issues, and concern, the youth leaders themselves were also able to identify recommendations as to what are the possible programs, projects, and activities that may be relevant to address the existing problems, issues, and concerns that all of them identified at that particular time. However, after we drafted our LYDP, our first draft, we then decided to turn over the draft copy of our LYDP to our Sangguniang Kabataan for the budget allocation purposes, since the LYDC at that time had no budget allocation from the city. After the SK Federation decided how much they can spare for the budget allocation from each barangays, we decided that all programs, projects, and activities should be unified. Na parang lahat sila pareho yung program, pareho yung problem identification as stated by Ms. Annette before, pareho yung title ng programs, but we should have a different way of approaching how to implement the program in the 19 barangays. Kasi we are trying to understand and consider that 19 barangays have no, hindi sila pareho ng budget allocation, na each barangay have unique identity at iba-iba yung need ng kada barangay. And we also tried to avoid comparison. Like sasabihin na the barangay 1 is better because the barangay 1 has this project and then the barangay 2 has no project like this. So as a group, when we elected the LYDC together with our SK Federation, we decided that together we will implement unanimously, simultaneously, projects that we identified relevant to our youth at that particular time. It so happened we passed the resolution, the SP passed the resolution adopting our LYDP in November 5, 2018. And then the concern and the challenge came when we cannot afford to provide funds for our programs, since the SK at that time were not yet financially independent. We started our road to independence, started last 2019 to 2020. Then the pandemic came in and all our LYDP, our plans for the youth were paused for a while. So since our LYDP was drafted by almost everyone coming from the youth sector, from youth organization and youth serving organizations and the Sangguniang Kabataan, we decided as a group, when we say group, we are talking about our LYDC and our SK, to also incorporate these programs, projects, and activities in the CBYDP, that's our comprehensive Barangay Youth Development Plan. And coming from there, we drafted the ABYEP from the 19 barangays. That's our annual Barangay Youth Investment Plan. LYDP, for the information of everyone, LYDP is also included in our AIP.
Sorry, EJ. I think I'm getting a little lost in the acronym. But thank you so much for
Okay.
enumerating all of the the steps that the LYDP and the SK took to really formulate the plan. So we're very excited now to hear more about like the steps that you took and also the rationale. But first, if it's all right, EG, we'd like to turn to the audience to ask if they have any questions. And then after that, I'll come back to you to ask more about like the steps, the further
Okay.
steps that you took for that. Okay, right. So as I mentioned, we're now ready to take questions from our audience. We'd like to once again invite SK Federation President Annette Catuslao, and of course EG Castro to join us in the spotlight. To our attendees, both Zoom and on site, if you have a comment or a question, please type them in the chat box. We also have a few questions that were already sent ahead of time. So I guess I'll turn to EG or okay, sure. I'll turn to either Annette or EG first. Okay, EG. So you were talking to us about the process of really formulating the LYDP and making sure that it harmonizes with all of the other government plans. As the head of the social welfare department, which plan do you think is the most important? So, kung i-prioritize mo siya, alin yung uunahin mo?
I think looking at the LYDP, our priority, looking at our perspective from the Social Welfare Office, I would choose leadership programs for our youth, more on capacity building, because we cannot give what we do not have. We cannot lead the youth in our community level if we ourselves lack the skills to do so. So we go back to the basic. We have to provide our youth leaders ng capacity in order to also capacitate their fellow youth. Those are in my perspective as a social welfare officer in our city.
Thank you, EG. Okay, so leadership programs for you. I'm not seeing Annette, but I trust that Annette is there. Hi, Annette, can you hear us?
Hello, Miss Catch. Yes, I'm still here.
Here you are. Okay. So how about you, Annette, as the SK leader of the many plans that Himamaylan has for the youth? Which do you think is the most important?
For me, Miss Catch, I'd have to agree with Miss Edgy. I think it's still leadership trainings and seminars because we cannot expect much from our young leaders if they do not have the capacity to lead and to serve our young people. And based on my experience, when it comes to joining different youth summits, it's also something that the youth genuinely enjoys. They do not just have fun learning all the different modules, but at the same time, they also have a great time meeting new people that will not just work together with, but eventually be friends with as well. That's all, Miss Catch.
Thank you, Annette and EG. So it seems like our SK and our social welfare department is aligned on this issue. So for those that are listening, I also wanted to ask, what is the role of the SK and how do you coordinate with the LYDC? So I suppose that's either Annette or EG to answer that question. How do you guys coordinate with each other? Who leads?
For our part, as a secretariat of the LYDC, our main role actually is to support the implementation of the SK on their various programs, projects, and activities in such a way that whatever their initiatives, we should be at their side or at their back. In Himamaylan City's experience, we are doing that. The SK is taking the initiative and we're taking at beside them in implementing all those PPAs that we have.
Okay, thank you, EG. That's very clear. So that's the role of the LYDC. Is Annette ready with her mic?
I think, Miss Catch, to add to what Miss Edgy said, whenever we have projects, usually actually whenever we have projects at the federation level, we want to make sure that the LYDC is our partners in whatever project. So usually we contact their secretariat first. We write official communication letters, and then after that, the LYDC is informed about our different activities, because according to our RA 10742, or the SK Reform Act, the role of the local youth development council is to monitor and to evaluate the Sangguniang Kabataan's activities, which is why it's very important that whenever we have projects like this, the LYDC is always involved, and we will always make sure that they are involved in all of our endeavors.
Thank you, SK Annette. So we have a question from the audience. I'll read this out loud. Regarding Himamaylan's Youth Organization Registration Program, or YORP, I saw that the National Youth Commission also has an online YORP registration. Is this different from Himamaylan's YORP, or is Himamaylan coordinating this with the National Youth Commission? So not sure who's handling that. So either Annette or EG. Youth Organization Registration Program ang kanyang tanong.
About the YORP, the registration of youth serving organizations and youth organizations to the NYC using the YORP, it's a national registration for all youth organizations and youth serving organizations. For Himamaylan, in our experience, we do not have any youth organizations yet who have officially registered to YORP. Although we are trying to encourage our youth organizations to do so, it is an online registration from NYC, and they can actually avail of that using the online registration of the YORP. So dito sa Himamaylan, parang wala pa kaming organization na naka-register sa YORP.
Got this. Thanks for that info, EG. Annette, anything to add, or are we okay?
Hello, Ms. Catch. I think Ms. Edgy was able to answer the question very well.
Great. Okay. So now we'll wait for all of the questions from the audience. We'd like to take note that any of the questions that you send in, we'll consolidate and we'll send to the Himamaylan City and to the SK Federation and to the local youth development office for their response. We'll get back to you on that email. Now I'd like to call on my colleague Vida to explain how the survey works. Vida?
Thank you very much, Catch. So sa liwat, maayong aga sa tanan. So we will be using a simple online form to identify kung diin sa mga programa nga naka-line up sa inyong local youth development plan ang dapat i-prioritize sa inyong LGU, especially in terms of funding. It will take 10 minutes at most for you to rank these projects as to how you think they should be prioritized. So dasig lang gid kag hapos lang gid. So on your screen, makita nyo man ang QR code, which will directly lead you to the online survey. So feel free to scan the code on the screen. Kung nabudlayan kita mag-scan sa QR code, pwede din kita ka-click on the link nga i-share sang akon nga mga upod sa aton nga Zoom chat box kag sa FB comment section. Okay. So once ma-open yun na ang survey, pwede na gid kamo makasugod sa bot. So this survey is open to all young people of Himamaylan City nga may edad 15 to 30 years old. So ginaengganyo gid kamo namon nga mag-imbitar pa gid sang iban nga mga kabataan sa Himamaylan nga mag-join kag mag-answer sang aton nga survey. So as they say, the more the merrier. So I see some of you have already started. So we'll give you 5 minutes now to complete the survey. Sir Felix, next slide, please. Okay, so we have sa health, we have Project Hulat. We also have the maintenance of the Tinaran youth facilities. We also have teen hubs, peer educators training, the distribution of hygiene kits, COVID-19 virtual symposium, and mental health awareness symposium. Under the environment category, we have the Basura Mo Premio Mo Drive. We also have Environmental Protection and Waste Management Forum. We also have Mangrove Tree Planting and Beautification Project, Training and Information Awareness on Environmental Hazard and Risk Assessment. So again, we just need to rank all of these projects in terms of which you think should be prioritized, with one as top priority. So next category, we have peace building and security, governance, and active citizenship. We have these projects, namely Youth Leadership Summits, Linggo ng Kabataan, quarterly LYDC sessions, Youth Organization Registration Program, support to Brigada Eskwela, Sports League, and Sports Clinic for athletes and professional referees. Under the education, economic empowerment, and social inclusion and equity category, we have Escolar ni SK. We also have Eskwelahan Drives, the school supplies drive, partnership with Alternative Learning System, the Livelihood Skills Training Program, and information and education campaign on the rights of the LGBTQIA+ and ethnic minorities. So once again, the survey is open to Himamaylan youth ages 15 to 30.
Checking lang, can we have a show of hands of those who are not yet connected to our Wi-Fi? Okay, so our staff can head over to you and help you connect. All right? Sige. Be honest with your answers. Okay. Ang mga sobra na 30, be honest, hindi magsabat.
For those nga ga-join man diri sa aton through online, please would like to ask for a thumbs up if you can already open our survey link.
Ang nagasabat na or nakasabat na, please raise your thumbs up lang para makitaan nila. Okay, higher please, higher, keep them up. Okay, all right. Sige. More or less half of them have already started answering. Vida.
Thank you, Vi. So once again, we have reposted the link here sa aton nga Zoom chat box para easier naton niya mabuksan. So we're so excited to see kung ano ang mga sabat sang mga kabataan sang Himamaylan. And I'm sure sila Vice and Councilor Annette are also very excited as well.
We're excited to read your answers. Unfortunately, I can no longer answer. I'm 3 years overdue. 4 na gali.
Okay, so sa liwat, we are encouraging all of you to send the survey link to your classmates, other members of your SK group, of your SK units, and even to your family members, brothers, sisters, as long as they are from Himamaylan City, again, ages 15 to 30 years old. So we look forward to seeing the results of your survey, which we will also be collating and presenting during our closing event. So back to you, Catch.
Thank you. Thanks, Vida. So once again, keep your responses coming. Hindi namin kayo kukulitin habang sumasagot kayo. The survey will be open until September 23 on Friday. Okay. Konting kulit lang pala. It's now time for our photo op. For all of you in Himamaylan, we'd like to give you some time to quickly compress and let's show the Himamaylan smile. For the rest of us who are online, we ask that you turn on your cameras. I will count 2 times. So since we're doing a hybrid setup, we'll of course give you time to move into place. We'd like to ask that everybody please compress.
Hi, Catch. Sorry, before we proceed with the picture taking, I think one of our attendees in Zoom, Mr. Roy Villacorte, raised his hand earlier. Hi, Roy. Do you have any questions?
Yes, good morning. I just would like to capture the tool. It requires us to, I mean, it does not allow us to answer twice in a column as to the rating from 1 to 3. However, I tried not to answer all the rows. It says I need to answer all the rows. So medyo ano siya.
Mahabang proseso. Got it. So as for not being able to answer in a row, Roy, parang that's on purpose because we want you to be able to rank it. So isa lang ang number 1, isa lang ang number 2, and number 3. As for having to grade all of it or put a rank on each row, we'll work on that in the back end. Thanks for your feedback.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Roy. I think, Catch, we can proceed with the picture taking. Ready
Okay.
na ba yung nasa SP session hall natin?
Compress lang tayo.
Kahit ngiti lang po tayo. Okay? So we'll wait for everybody else also to turn on their cameras. Okay, I see people turning on their cameras now. I'll count 2 times. So 1, 2, 3, smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, to our participants, once again, ayan, parang tapos na rin sila mag-photo taking in the on-site venue. To our participants, once again, please share the survey with your friends, with your classmates. Let's also send you the link via email, and you can also find it on our Facebook page. The survey will be open until September 23. We'll process the results and then come back here to present them to you. We'd also like to invite everybody to follow us on social media. The handles are being shown on the screen now. Okay, with that, we look forward to seeing you at our closing event on September 30, Friday. Stay safe and have a good day.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Thanks,
Salamat
Coco.
po.
Thank you, everyone. Salamat, gid madamo.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Annette.
much,
Thank you,
guys.
EG.
Thank you,
Thank you,
SK
everybody.
Annette. Thank
Have a good
you.
day.
Thank you, EG.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, EG. Thank you.
Kasabat na tanan. Ang hindi makasabat, wala pamahaw.
Hi, Miss Mitch. Are we doing a postmortem today?
Yeah, very quick. Sorry, I was speaking. I was muted pala. Oops, wait. Someone entered. Hold on.